Okay, I've been sitting in this chair for a long time now, and I just don't feel like right now I'm feeding the camera, and eventually when I edit and release this video, you, real, solid, practical value. So I'm just scrapping anything I had in mind to say, and I'm going to throw in this video, the video that I produced last year for this week's Torah portion called Vayera, and it has such a crucial practical lesson. And I know that my last year's video was like 7 minutes or something, so by the time I got to the actual proper content of the late Parsha show in that video, I think nobody even watched it, because I was just like wasting time in the beginning of the video. Whatever. See, I'm doing it again. Point is, let's do this throwback. Actually, before we do that, I want to inform you, I don't think you care, but I want to inform you that today, literally just today, a couple hours ago, I learned how to properly pronounce the word mitigate. For a long time, I thought it was mitigate. It means like to diminish, lessen. I always thought it was mitigate, and today I was studying with a friend, same friend that I spoke of in last week's video, actually, smart dude, and he said the word mitigate, it came up in the Talmud that we were studying in the Gemara. And I said, isn't it pronounced mitigate? And he said, no, it's not. So if I ever use the word mitigate in any previous video, now you know. Although I don't know why I'm making this announcement, like, unless I'm really concerned for my reputation because of a mispronunciation of mitigation. Yo. Okay, without further ado of me and my nonsense, let's talk something real. Let's begin with the ultimate point, and that's the revelation of Mashiach. May it be immediately. And since it must come from us, and since, at least as of the recording of this video, it has not happened yet, let's increase in joy in our life. Let's increase in love for one another, and of course in Torah study and observance of mitzvahs. And we must also demand verbally from God, God, we want to see you. God appeared to Abraham in the beginning of this week's Torah portion, and we should want the same thing badly enough to demand from God, Mashiach now. And if it still hasn't happened while you're watching this video, let's do the throwback. After many years of being married and yet never having a child together, Avraham and Sarah finally, in their very advanced age, miraculously give birth to Isaac, Yitzchak, the second of our three forefathers. People did not believe that Isaac was Abraham's son. You see, Sarah, Abraham's wife, had just recently been abducted by this guy named Abimelech. He was a king, and if you're thinking, what? Sarah was abducted by what? This is actually the second time it happened. The first time it was by Pharaoh in Egypt. And yeah, they were like, Abraham lived with Sarah for so many years and never had a child. And now, right after Sarah was abducted by this Abimelech king, now suddenly she becomes pregnant and gives birth. We think we know who the father is, and it's not Abraham. So Hashem made that Yitzchak should look exactly identical to his father Abraham, so there can be no mistake as to whom the father of Yitzchak is. I don't know. What should I say? Whatever, we'll just leave it at this. Should I put myself talking to myself in the final edit? Yeah, let's do that, right? Okay, yeah, let's do that. One's face reveals what's going on the inside. Well, you have this in a physical sense where you can see if someone's sad or happy, etc. And one's soul's inner workings are expressed by the looks of one's face. The inner dimension of the Torah explains that Abraham's mode of divine service and the inner workings of his soul were mainly in the realm of kindness. Isaac, his son, Yitzchak, was in the realm of restraint, holding back, severity. So the fact that Avram and Yitzchak looked exactly the same was nothing short of a miracle. This spiritual miracle, if you want to call it that, was still showing on an inner reality. That kindness isn't real kindness if you're never holding back. You can't give a knife to a kid just because he or she wants it, for example. And obviously just holding back is not at all appropriate. Kindness and restraint really go one in one. So Avram's kindness, of course, also had severity, and Yitzchak's severity, of course, also had kindness. Just the soul of Avram was more of a mode of kindness, while Yitzchak was severity. And here is the closing beautiful lesson. Theoretically, God could have made the miracle to be that Avram's face should look like his future son Yitzchak's face. Meaning that Avram's face should show on the restraint, on the severity that is within the kindness of his soul. But no, God chose to make Yitzchak, whose main mode was one of severity, to have the face of his father, to have a face of kindness. When we are in doubt as to what is the best way to deal with a situation, should it be one of severity, should it be one of restraint, or should it be one of love, should it be one of kindness, of giving? The way to go is kindness. That is what is most probably going to work best. And if you're in doubt, that's the way to go. And I read a quote this week that was attributed to the Rebbe. I'll paraphrase. I think anyways, the quote that I read was paraphrased. When in doubt whether to give a hug or a punishment to a child, give a hug. Because if you give a punishment and you were meant to give a hug, you've caused some severe damage. And if you gave a hug when you were meant to give a punishment, you've brought some extra love into the world. With our increased acts of kindness, may we merit already to see Mashiach